then the Prez powers advantage. Whoa! Told you it was weird.
They're getting spicy.
So politics, then Prez powers, then the counter plan, and then the war advantage. I couldn't have heard my baby like that. This app is T. This app is T.
Are you sure?
All right.
Not confident.
Anyone not ready? You good? All right. Before the round started, I thought I was going to go for the counterplan. You all clearly wanted me to go for T, but I'm going for the status quo. They have made three answers to the dissad, and that is it. They have said the dissad does not turn case analytically with no explanation. They have said economic decline does not cause war, and then they made the link argument for us to try and link us back to the counterplan. That is it. Draw a line. Nothing new. Protect the 2 and R, because anything else will result in the affirmative getting away with literal murder and being able to reinvent the wheel from the beginning. It disincentivizes good impact calculus and strategic 2 and R choices, even if I want to go for arguments that you all think is more persuasive or I think is more persuasive. They might have intuitive arguments against the debt dissad. You might have intuitive arguments against the debt dissad. They were not made in the 1AR, and you cannot vote on them. Now, the rest of the debate. Economic collapse turns out outweighs the case. First, it causes extinction and nuclear war. 1, it escalates regional conflicts because the U.S. is no longer there with security guarantees. Second, it causes loose nuclear weapons to exist because security within countries breaks down. Third, it causes proliferation because U.S. military power declines and it's no longer able to keep regions safe and conflicts from escalating. 4, it causes terrorism because it creates conditions in which countries are destroyed. Now, I know you're thinking, third, they have impact T. They have conceded the ways in which it produces terrorism and loose nuclear weapons, even if you think economic decline does not cause war on a prima facie level. Independently, they have conceded Marge's awesome and nuanced and detailed turns the case analysis. First is economic decline turns their China advantage. 1, economic interdependence is why there is no war in the status quo. Think back to that first question of 1AC cross-X. Why has China not invaded Taiwan for decades, even if it has been a priority forever? A massive nationalist came to party, a massive independent leader came to party, and nothing has happened. It's because they own all of our debt, and they think we're going to pay them back. If that collapses, the lid on conflict disappears. Second, they have conceded a card that, albeit was in the context of presidential powers, but said, when the economy declines, authoritarian leaders come to power and rally the support of their leaders. That means the affirmative, the economic decline causes worse leaders and worse governments to cause power, which makes China war more likely. Also, they've conceded the link alone turns solvency. Infighting from the U.S. makes everything look worse. Line by line. They say no turns the case, that was done above. They say they're the more probable internal link to China, even if you think they are more probable internal link to China, which is wrong. Time frame comes first because of intervening actors and because of the fact that you can only die once. Moreover, we have a global impact that subsumes China, but accesses other impacts as well, so they can't outweigh. The rest of the line by line. Economic decline definitely causes war. Their Clary evidence is fundamentally flawed. Our tier evidence indicts its methodology. But even if you think the methodology you made is confusing, you can ignore it because they have conceded it causes loose nukes, terrorism, and proliferation, which is independent of the question of dyads going to war in the first place. They say Dresdner evidence. The warrant for it is because we have other checks to prevent countries from going to war. Those eroded in the 5 years since Dresdner, where Trump came to office, and the global authoritarians will come to office as well too. The last argument was a link thing. That was a link for us because they said it was unpopular. Press powers. Here is the other reason why I'm going for the status quo. They have conceded all of the arguments that Congress will not enforce themselves and will not push forward and will not resist Trump on arms sales. They have also conceded a circumvention argument that was here and on the counterplan. The third 1MC argument was that Trump will circumvent it. We had 2 internal links. First was open non-compliance. Their only answer to this was, and this wasn't even their last speech, but their only answer to it ever was that they get to fiat it. They have conceded their plan is done by Congress, not the USFG, which means they can't fiat Trump's reaction, and that argument is flawed. You should have to debate the way in which the affirmative plays out, which is valuable. Even if you think I'm wrong about that, though, they have conceded that Trump would have opaque and definitional non-compliance to cheat his way out of it. I mean, like, this isn't weapons to the ROC, this isn't the ROC, and still sell the weapons anyways. Counterplan. It's Taiwan. Concede permutation do both. It is just a test of competition. There were no theoretical reasons to reject the argument. However, I will expressly concede all of Sam's awesome arguments about how the counterplan will be ignored because the defense lobby is awesome and strong because Trump wants to contain Taiwan, and most importantly, that Trump doesn't care about public opinion, so they can't go for the legal constraint arguments, which would otherwise be their defense of circumvention. I know circumvention was originally posited in the context of press powers, but if Trump just gives the plan the middle finger, then it doesn't end arms sales to Taiwan and there's no shift. Case. There will not be a shift at all, even if there is not that much money, even if it's only $13 billion. The point is Taiwan always wants to pursue all forms of deterrence that are available for it, and they will pursue both asymmetric and other deterrents. That triggers their gray zone conflict scenarios, it triggers their China first strike scenarios, not uniquing their impact, but also means that they'll never be able to solve the upsides. The last argument I'm going for is no China war. The Heath evidence says that there's a slew of factors, including geography, leaders, and economic motives, and even if reunification is the goal, they can't explain why now is key. We can, though, because of debt collapse, which has never happened.